So this is a bit of a brief whistle-stop tour. I've had the pleasure of sitting in on all of the presentations this week, and I think it's been a really interesting week with really diverse range of presenters from a number of different facets relating to health and safety, not least today with Martin's presentation, but going back to the beginning of the week, starting with Jimmy Quinn from IOSH and through to Colin Mew from the HSE yesterday. So I think from my perspective, it's just reinforced the point that the health and safety agenda for all of us, as we all know, is a multifaceted. There are many different parts to it and many different solutions to this. In isolation, we don't solve these. As an industry, we're stronger when we come together. And I think the collaboration with IAT this week in terms of presenting this and what's been put forward, from my point of view, is a really great example of working together to learn from each other, to help make our sector safer, more efficient, and make sure that the people go home at the end of the day safe and well, both in the short term and the long term. So I'm just going to pick up a few bits and pieces and try and sort of summarize some of the conversations that have come through the week and highlight some of the areas. I suspect most people already know this and will know most of the information, but I don't apologize for that. I think it's never wrong to reinforce some of the key messages around health and safety and reinforce where we can get the information from collectively as a group. From IQ's perspective, much the same with IAT. We have education and training pathways to helping support members and the industry in terms of developing their knowledge and competence around health and safety, be it through the University of Derby or training courses ourselves with our Level 3 SHE, or even through MPQC as a provider. For me, the key part of any membership organisation, both particularly highlighted with IQ and IAT this week, is it's about information and sharing best practice. We're membership organisations. You, the members, are the people that are doing this on the ground, who work in this day to day, who are finding the issues, trying to find ways to resolve those issues, and sharing that knowledge and that best practice with each other is the best way for us as organisations to make our industry safer and better. From an IQ perspective, it's a bit of a quick naked sort of reminder to everybody that there are resources that are available from us in a number of different ways, from things as basic as the fact sheets through to our YouTube channel, which is available to anybody. You don't have to be a member to access that. You can just go onto IQ. Got the links there. Again, I think the presentations will be made available to everybody, so you can click through on those. There's a whole range of webinars on there linking to health and safety, from fall protection, sleep wellbeing, mental wellbeing, HSE hot topics. Please do use them. And again, our health and safety textbooks that we produced, revised last year, the 2 volumes are there, again, available for those of you who are working on the aggregate side of industry. And again, just very briefly, we have the IQ Connect app, again, for IQ members. It's really our one-stop shop, if you like, of resources, but it's also a curation of other people's resources, recognising that there's a huge amount of wealth of information from organisations across the sector and outside of the sector that help us make us safer and better at what we do. So again, if you are an IQ member, please download the app. It is a great function. We launched it this year, and it is a really great way of connecting into those kinds of information. And again, things like the webinars from this week and previously are available and work through the app as well. So it's a really great way of doing that. The main part of what I want to talk about really is not so much just the IQ, but as Tony mentioned, the wider industry initiatives that are going on. So for those of you that were on the presentations yesterday, we had Colin Mew from the HSE talking about the current situation with COVID and a bit of an overview from the HSE as a regulator on the aggregate side of things. And one of the things he mentioned during the presentation was 2017, which coincides with the year that I joined the IQ, and it's our centenary year. We celebrated 100 years of being an organisation and the pride that we had as an institute in driving and developing better working practices. It also coincided with the worst incident rates of fatalities in the sector for 20 years. And from that, you saw very clearly and very quickly a desire in the industry to do something about that. A lot of work had been done in the previous 20 years through Quinjack in bringing the incidence and fatality rate down, a lot of good work. But we saw something in 2017, and the immediate response was we wanted to do something to make sure we didn't have a year like that again. So the Strategic Forum was set up in 2018 to try and drive home some of those key messages. And again, Colin picked up on it a little bit yesterday. Through that forum, which is made up of the major employers, SMEs, ourselves, other association bodies, trade associations, trades unions, and the HSE themselves, is trying to refocus and provide one voice on some of those key issues, mainly hooked around the sort of fatal six that have been identified in the sector over the last 5-6 years. And it's just a reminder that that information is out there. So the first area that we focused on from a forum perspective was isolation and preventing entrapment. And it was really trying to make sure that the key players within the industry provided information in a way that was best suited to what they do. So through that campaign, we had the MPA producing their guidance booklet around managing isolation and preventing entrapment. That was backed up with the MPQC providing an online digital piece of e-learning, a very short e-learning free module. And the final part of that was the Quinjac producing its self-audit tool for Latoto. And again, I think all of that information is available online, and it's a really key area, again, thinking about what Colin was talking about yesterday, is that that's played out over the last probably 18 months. That campaign's been rolled out, yet we're still seeing those issues, particularly in the quarrying side, around people getting injured through the lack of guarding or misuse of guarding or removal of guarding in key areas. And I think it's just, again, the information is there. We need to make sure we use it and make sure the people around us are using it. So I think it's just a plea to everybody just to remember that that's there. And I suspect, as Colin said yesterday, what you tend to find is on these kind of occasions, we're talking to people who are engaged in the process anyway. But again, it's feeding it out into your networks because we need to try and reach everybody with these kinds of messages. And the second one is a heads up, it's coming down the line, is the vehicle and pedestrian segregation. So again, the forum has identified that as the next area. So the MPA have produced some guidance that will be coming out soon. MPQC have produced an e-learning module that will come out again either at the end of this year, beginning of next year, and that will be followed up again by Quinjac producing a self-audit tool, which is designed to help people identify where their strengths are and where the weaknesses are, and develop an improvement plan around that. And that leads nicely on to Quinjac as well. So again, I think Quinjac has been around for 20 odd years. It's a really strong organisation. IQ is very proud to be the administrators of that, and actually our chairman of the board of IQ is the chair of Quinjac as well. And it's just a reminder that there's a lot of good information there. It's available. The website address is there, the web link is there, but also the Quinjac apps are available to download, covering those key areas for the industry as well. And again, there's plenty of really good advice, tools available for us to utilise. And again, I think some of these are transferable outside of the sector, but you've got toolbox talks, presentations, other things that you can access. So it's just a reminder really that there is a large amount of information there for people to be able to access. So please do use it. And if you're not aware of it, and I'm surprised, even now I've been in the industry only for 4 years with the IQ, but I still talk to people now who aren't aware necessarily always of what Quinjac does. So again, it's just one of those things that just trying to raise the profile of that and make sure that people understand that there is information and help out there. And the other thing I think this week that I'd probably take away is, and particularly in our current climate of 2020 around COVID, is we talked a lot about mental well-being, mental health and health generally. Obviously, in the current climate, we've got some real issues of people understanding how they can access help if they're feeling particularly challenged by the current situation. And we know it's been an issue for the industry in the past. I think, as Simon mentioned yesterday, from his perspective at Hanson, we've come a long way in a short period of time. We are getting better, but there's still more to do. And again, there's access to resources. So everybody knows, I would hope, that MPA, the Safe Quarry app and website, again, there's really good resources. They've just produced some new guidance documents around health, mental health and well-being. We have the mental health first aid courses that are produced and delivered by MPQC. And even, again, going back to Colin yesterday, he talked very strongly as a regulator. One of the things for me is that I always think, with my background coming from Irish prior to joining the Institute of Quarrying, is the HSE is a fountain of really useful information. Their website has got huge amounts of guidance. And if you haven't seen it, please, again, go and look. Most of it is really valuable, I think, in terms of allowing people to access really good information down to areas such as stress, toolbox talks and toolkits to enable you to talk to your teams and help support them in those kinds of areas. So it's a really key area. So there's some great resources for us as professionals to access and help develop that well-being and mental health side of the issue. And just quickly, finally, the last bit for me is that well-being drops into two areas. It's the professional and the personal. So very much as professionals, we talk about the tools we have to work with the people around us, work with our teams, make sure they're okay and support them. One of the benefits of being part of the Institute of Quarrying, and one of the things that gives me the greatest pride is that we have the Benevolent Fund, which is something that, again, quite often people don't know that much about. It's there primarily to support people in need, members who are in need, previous members or their dependents. Classically, it's often thought about in terms of it provides money to a point in life where people have either become ill or have issues perhaps towards the end of life. One of the things we're very keen to stress with the Benevolent Fund and to IQ members particularly is that we recognise challenging times can occur at any point in your life, and the fund is there to help and support people, not just financially, but also through access to help with mental health issues and signposting people to good advice. So again, there's a link there. Please, for those people that want to know a little bit more about it, follow that. We have a welfare officer who is always happy to talk to anybody and give them some information. So again, that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but I think the important thing is this week you've had some really good presentations on technical areas, and it's just really pleased that we could be part of that and work with the IAT on that. But with that, I'll hand back to Tony.
It's my job now to round up the proceedings of the week. Firstly, thanks to all the speakers. I'm not going to name them, but there they are on the screen. They've done a fantastic job. It's a wide variety of subject areas, and they've done some sterling work there. Some of the facts and figures are still alarming that these things are happening in this day and age. I was particularly concerned with the figures that Rachel was giving us yesterday. Unbelievable, some of the amount of incursions into our roadworks and assaults on our people. So that's something that we have to sort out. We all know that as leaders that we lead from the top. It's up to us to set the standard and educate our people and behave in the right manner. So I'm sure that you're all aware of that, and this has reinforced it. It's been a great week. Particularly, I'd like to say thank you to Lyle and to Sarah, whose hard work has put all of the things together and made it so seamlessly this week. So thank you to today's presenters, Martin, and to James. You've summed everything up really well there. I know Martin Riley, your president, is very keen for us both to work together, and I think this is a good step in the right direction. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to all of you lot for logging on and taking time to support the branches and the institutes together. So thank you all, and have a good day, everybody.